I wanted to show you our shop. It's certainly not the biggest shop, but maybe there's a few features in here, or just small things that partly because the shop is small that we've had to do as far as storage of tools. One thing in particular I do want to show is the overhead crane and maybe our oil storage. So the original shop I built, it was in 1985. It was 40 by 80, so gosh, that's 35 years ago. So we've continually improved, added on 24 feet to the front, probably 22 years ago. And at that time, we raised from a 12-foot high ceiling to a 15-foot high ceiling to accommodate the crane. And so anyways, maybe we'll go inside and we'll just kind of walk around the perimeter, and I'll just point out some things. And if there's anything that you see of interest, you think might be helpful for others, if we can share some of our ideas, hey, that'd be great. So
I always like the Successful Farming Top Shots feature in the magazine, and also I really don't watch TV, but I do tune in at 10 o'clock on Sunday nights to catch the machinery show, and always enjoy the first part, seeing the different shops, and interesting around the country how people the creativeness of farmers, and often they highlight their overhead cranes, and I can't imagine having a shop without it, just even from the safety aspect of it. But we're just so much more productive when we're fabricating or repairing, putting duals on a tractor. It's just the finesse that you can get with an overhead crane, as opposed to two people running a loader, which maybe a common way. But anyway, so I wanted to show our crane. I've not seen any quite like it, and 22 years, been really happy with it, and no problems with it, and so just wanted to share it. So what we have up here is two 24-inch wide flange beams, 45 feet long, 24 feet apart, with a 24-foot cross gantry crane that's mounted on some spindles. A couple of them came off a corn chopper, and the other ones were some spindles we had, and then also uses you can see the bar above that has the guide wheels, because if we're pulling a heavy load on one side of it, we want that gantry crane to track evenly across there. We certainly don't want it to tweak in there. And for safety, should the wheels ever fail, the beam is inset in above the flange on the main support beam. So the most anything could ever drop is about an inch. So we do lift considerable loads with it. You notice we have a electric hoist and then a hand operated, and we'll often use the two in conjunction with each other. Say if we're setting a truck bed onto a truck, we may bring a sling down each one, and we can bring a large object up level. The other thing I wanted to show with this is, and we'll use this drum of oil as an example, that when you're picking from a stationary hoist, it's hard to find that center point to where you're going to lift from, and the object, say it's an engine, confined in a space. Once that breaks free, like a pendulum, it's going to swing to its center point. And so again, we'll demonstrate with the drum here. But if you watch how it'll self-center, of course we would normally get a little closer than this. But as you can see, each hoist, the hoist centered, but then the gantry itself moved to the center point, but the drum itself did not move, and very, very convenient, as well as safe when you pick an object. And as far as ease of moving, an example, a lot of times we're refurbishing a piece of equipment. I do have a little video of a fertilizer spreader that we completely redid. The wheels were off, we painted it, and so the whole thing is suspended, a hoist on each side of it. And the video shows me with one finger in the hitch pulling the fertilizer spreader from one end of the shop to the other. And so that wheel was a great invention, whoever came up with that. But, anyways, it's just a real handy feature in our shop. So using these same beams, we can use other chain hoists besides just the gantry on there. So as long as we're up in the air, because of the lack of space, a couple of things we can show is the swinging boom that has the power, light, air, and air greaser, which we really don't use too much anymore. Up there you can see the hot water washer. Most of the washing's done outside, but in the winter we can use it inside here. It's vented out when we do use the heat. The greaser up there. A couple little things. This is obviously our welding area here, but you get a good project going. It's just hard to keep order of tools, and so just some simple things where tool holders that can be used without when the tools just stay plugged in. You can just quick grab them and use those places for clamps. Just real simple, lightweight angle here, set off the wall. Just a place to hang the grinders. The air compressor, of course, elevated up out of the way. Welding tables, plasma cutter, torches, wire feed, 60-ton press, handy for just when you need a lot of torque on something. And as we move out of the welding area, a little bit of a machining area, we have the 60-ton press. Here's another rotating boom. Actually has Carl's punching bag on it right now, but rotating boom for lighter lifting there. And then starting back here, radial arm drill press, older metal lathe, the grinders, horizontal bandsaw, which invaluable for in our fabricating, and just nuts and bolt storage, miscellaneous type parts storage. We'll look at the steel rack out in the back afterwards, but for the shorts, handy to be able to have it. Of course, it's a mess right now. This is not the time to be showing off our shop after a hectic summer season here. But and then back here we have where the really shorts go. So as we move across, portable rolling ladder, and they recognize that from an old John Deere combine. And then just some simple storage as far as for oils and their filters, things like that. Of course, it too is a mess right now, but a place to keep grease. We're paint storage, supplies, parts area. We're approximately 10 miles from town, but we're about 90 miles from our implement dealerships. So it's not an option just to run to town to get parts. So as we come across here, more of the tables, everything on wheels, and cabinets for trying to keep some of the nicer tools clean. And so a couple little things here.
again, just to try to keep some order to the shop when it's busy, and be able to visually see the tools quickly, but also quickly be able to put them back in their place. Just simple little flat stock with little round stock pegs. Real easy, quick. Hit it with a spray can, looks decent. Put it up there. EMT or just conduit welded to an angle. Again, quick and easy, but just a simple place to put things like that. And the same way up here with the wrenches, just a piece of flat stock with the round stock, just a little layout on that. And it's just much easier to be able to see in order. I guess the other thing I wanted to share is, in the shops, it's always, well, what do you do with the oil? Especially if you're not of the size where you have the big pump systems. And so this has worked out real well. It's kind of our oil bar. So underneath, parts cleaner can be pulled out. But then we have used oil filled by a funnel on the top. Simply dump the drain pans into there. And then motor oil and hydraulic oil, and accessed right here by the pumps, and a little baking pan, drip pan right there, and then an extra barrel there, storage. Just all multiple different grease guns with specialty fittings on them. Again, just a simple piece of tube to hold those. What I do want to show, and we'll do a few more showings of some different benches, but just how much can be done with just this lightweight, simple tubing and a wire feed welder. Pretty much anybody can, make benches and what have you out of this. So, and then the top's either formed metal, or in this case, a medium density fiberboard with a good oil paint on it. It holds up well. The location of this is right within steps of where we would normally do oil changes, so you're not spending a lot of time moving back and forth. But then also close to our door, because it's always a staging area, parts coming in and parts going out, and you don't want to cluttering up your work areas, so it's kind of a place to drop things and pick them up. A little more overhead storage there. We've got the recessed floor with the floor grates, so when you come in the door, we also do that over here, where we have the grates in the floor. This case about 12 foot long, not only for drainage, but also in there we do have the chains where if we need to straighten something, we can hook onto that, and that's reinforced under there. As far as functioning of the shop, yeah, it's small, but by trying to keep it mainly for tools and working and not accumulating a lot of stuff, we can do a lot of work in here. But it seems like it's important how the shop functions, not only in winter, but more importantly, kind of in the heat of the battle in the summertime, when you come in here and you're in a panic because a piece of equipment is down. You got to be able to quickly find the parts. And so not only in the shop, but there's probably as much work that's done on the apron in front of the shop. And so that's where we came up with kind of our crash cart, the first on the scene. It seems like, when does a repair ever not start with a 9/16 wrench? So just as a basic wrenches, sockets, and impacts and things. Grease guns, hammers, small mobile tool kits, and just places to put what we need. But
where we can wheel it right out onto the apron, get right close, and not be making multiple trips back to a rollaway. That's a little more cumbersome to move around. So this was just simple to build. Again, just out of the tubing, a little bit of angle iron, a purchased drawer unit, and then again, just tubing, EMT. So in some wheels that we had, but I guess something that gets used every day. So that's pretty much it for this portion of the shop. We have other areas, so if we go in those, it's kind of maybe segmented where we, depending on what the function of the shop is, it changes as we go. So we'll go take a look at a couple of these other areas. Mm-hmm. Probably 25 years ago or more, an addition was maybe 16 by 24 feet off the side of the shop for an office area. And then for this room, which is just kind of a general purpose in the wintertime, it's a lunchroom for guys. We have the sink. There was an area at the time for a fridge, hot water heater, and a lot of our paints are in here. We can fill our paint sprayers in here, and then just general storeroom for just all the miscellaneous. And then as they're now known as the PPE, place to store that type of thing, and even, what do you do with all the raincoats and that type of stuff that's needed. So this area of the shop, which is closed off from the other, so we can at least attempt to keep it a little cleaner, and then we'll just step into the small little farm office here. So just a small little office area as part of that addition. But it is nice to have it because it is separate, it's quieter, and we used to do more of the work here, but now with everything on the computer, wife takes care of all that at home. But still to be able to have it for keeping track of things within the shop, shelving, cabinets for storage there, small little bathroom in here, and then plenty of space where we can keep all the owner's manuals. It's just nice to keep that in there clean. And so that's and then plenty of storage area. So that's it there. Next section of the shop, which is accessed by a sliding door from the front portion, so we can close this off if we're not using it, or open the door, use the same heat from the natural gas overhead heater on the front shop, and then we have an overhead infrared heater that would kick on for the quick recovery or warm up. So this is more of the woodworking area. We also have a construction business where we used to, in the off season, we build homes along the lake that we're on here. And so a lot of the work was done in here. This shop is then also expandable by another sliding door to a back portion, which we'll see in a minute, and where we would panelize not only homes, but good-sized barns. Anything that we can do in the shop, way more efficient, considerably less manpower, and we can make use of the overhead hoists and that. So I'll just show you another example of, again, the tubing and just how simple you can make benches using the tubing, angle iron, and again, the MDF top. So you can just kind of get a glimpse of the bench there. So we'll take a look at the back portion here. And, so with multiple operations taking place out of the same shop, we're never long on storage space. So again, trying to utilize anything overhead. Here again, just the tubing, and then some pallet rack grating and makes a quick shelf up there for bulky items. And then here's an example of just some 3/4 by 3/4 angle iron and just flat stock and 1/2 inch MDF and for parts storage shelves. And again, just quick and easy to build. Hit it with spray can, looks good. And then our this portion of the shop is expandable to the back 40 feet by a 16-foot sliding door that slides back behind this wall. And we'll go and take a look at that from the other side. So I've been very fortunate for the last 25 years to have a excellent employee in Bob, and he's not only our lead carpenter in the construction, but he's a great mechanic and a genius with the welder and the cutting torch, and we're able to fabricate a lot of our own specialty equipment. And so for 25 years, he's never had a day, even with our weather extremes up here, when we haven't had something to do. And so we try to keep a little bit of metal on hand, particularly the tubing, angle irons, some of the basic. So if a project comes up that we can, if we have to move inside, we can quickly access the material and